The year is AG 2636. The Alien Wars begin. It's time for revenge. Let's attack aggressively. Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this Saturday we have the iconic run and gun Contra III: The Alien Wars. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. Today we're playing Contra III: The Alien Wars, specifically the version released on the Super Nintendo Classic, which just came out in, well, the world. So I'm not sure if Contra III made it onto the Japanese or the European versions of the Super NES Classic, but it did get released on the North American version, and I'm really happy for that, as I think it's one of the, well, when I think of the run and gun genre, I think of Contra III. It's one of the handful of shoot 'em ups that did make it onto the Super NES Classic, so I'm glad to feature it today. Also, today we'll be playing the two-player variant of the game. You can go and do both A or B modes. A mode is split screen on the top-down screens, and or rather top-down stages, and B is a single screen for the top-down stages. And that's the version we'll be looking at today. So right off the bat, we get our two heroes dropped onto the streets of Neo City. I'm Jimbo, the blue guy, and player 2 is Sully. We're the descendants of the original Contra heroes, so it's keeping in like the timeline a little bit that way. So we have our normal ability to move around, as well as shoot our gun. We can shoot in 8 directions, and if you hold the R button, you can rotate around in a stationary position and shoot in any of those 8 directions. We can also pick up, in addition to our machine gun, we can also pick up one of 5 different weapons, or rather actually 2. You have 2 weapon slots that you can change between with the X button. Or, if you hold down L and R together, you can select both and do this awesome twirl attack. It's not actually very practical, but it looks cool. So as we make our way through the streets of Neo City, taking out all these alien baddies, we come across something that definitely is iconic Contra, a wall barrier we have to shoot down. And then we get something that's used only once throughout the game of Contra 3, this tank. So if you're playing a 2-player game, one player can drive the tank and the other can stand on top. But one thing you do have to be careful is it's possible to run over your second player with this tank, so you have to be careful. One shot from the tank is enough to take down the wall, and we move on. I'm going to hop back real quick to get this weapon real quick. So the other 5 weapons are the S, that we can get from the weapon wings. For the spread gun, there's also the L for the laser, which just isn't very good. There's H for homing, F for the fire gun, and C for the crush gun. You can also get Bs from the weapon wings, which are the little blimps that bring you weapons, and also nukes. L! Laser is also the same letter as loser. I say that though, but the laser actually is a decent weapon on the top-down stages. Another homing, and more crush gun. So holding L and R makes you stand with both guns at once, and for scenes where you can't do anything else, it makes for a great manly photo op. So now Neo City is engulfed in flames, and we have to make our way through this dangerous fire labyrinth, crawling over the flames. It is possible to destroy some of the fireballs, making your path a little easier to traverse. I actually kind of wonder how a plane dropping bombs on a city results in this kind of fire, though. Once again, photo op! And we're at the end of the first stage. We get to fight our boss, which is Beast Kimco. I always thought of this guy as kind of like a undead zombie turtle. He's really easy to take out if you use your nukes and target his heart. Although he does have some attacks he can launch at you, like shooting his head out, which will block your shots, unfortunately. And then there's also a laser beam attack that he'll fire straight across, possibly hitting you if you're on the level that he's firing at. We get an awesome picture of us just looking manly, as well as our results screen. And on to stage 2, the Maria Cauldron Highway. So, on the top-down stages, you actually get to select where you begin. We have to take out these 5 domes in order to proceed, so planning out efficient path is always what you want to consider doing. The controls are also different. In the top-down, the LR rotates us, although we can still do our awesome spinny attack if we hold both. And instead of jumping, if we press the jump button, we duck. Apparently the enemies never learned how to shoot at a downward angle. So that's always a good thing. We do have arrows to indicate where our next dome is, or the closest one. I don't feel it does a good job of navigating, so you kind of have to memorize the map and where you want to go. The domes do drop power-ups, though, so we can pick up additional bombs as well as other weapons. And if we're lucky, we'll be introduced to the only weapon we haven't seen so far, the F-gun, the fire gun. Whoa! More homing. Did we get it? Did we get it? Yes! Fire! After all 5 domes are completed, we're taken to the boss fight. Metallicon, or something like that. It's got these 6 little balls around it that fire bullets at us. Once we destroy them, they do drop power-ups. And if they're all destroyed, the only thing the boss can really do is just spin around at us. Sometimes it'll jump up like this and try and land on us. All you need to do is just run away. Hopefully the core faces you in a way that you can shoot it, but if not, you just keep going. Enough damage, and it's destroyed. And yet another photo op for looking awesome. So, I really, really love Contra III. Like I said, when I think of run-and-gun shoot-em-ups, this is the game that comes to mind. It's just that perfect blend of arcadey action with, like, just sheer fun. My main minus flavor for it is the game is short. It's only 6 stages long, so it's easy to complete it in one setting, which, if you're looking for an arcadey title, is completely fine. But at the same time, I am kind of left maybe wanting a little bit more. I don't know, if it was longer, maybe it would overstay its welcome. But as far as plus flavors are concerned, I love the game's soundtrack. Like, especially this stage's track is one that always stays in my mind, and once I've played it, I'm just always kind of like humming some of the tunes of it. It also has really great art, showing off what you could do with Super Nintendo all the way back in 1992. I mean, the game really looks good, and even still to this day, I think it looks like an awesome game. And then there is all the nostalgia and the arcadey fun that the game itself has, making Contra III like one of the iconic titles. One that if you haven't played it, really, Either like play it on a Super NES Classic or in any other way you possibly can. I would definitely recommend it. And there we have it, Contra III served up for your enjoyment. As always, I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me for this week's Shoot 'em Up Saturday. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again next week.